Thank you. Maybe a small request. As you might know, or as you might see, we have an Alexa here, and she's very delicate, and she listens to everything that we want to say. So if you can please keep the noise level to a minimum, no chatter between you guys, so she can clearly understand us. And as a side note, I need to speak to her very firmly. So to my Echoes and my Alexa at home, I'm more soft-spoken and very friendly. I need to be a bit more commanding than today. So please don't hold that against me. So, Alexa, start our presentation.
Alrighty. Hello, Reply. Welcome to our presentation about KPI and, well, me. I am Alexa, and these are my co-hosts, Liesbeth and Holger, from TD Berlin. Liesbeth is the product owner for our Pulse dashboard, the product powering my knowledge about company data. Holger is CTO, and a fan of voice interfaces and prototypes. Liesbeth, tell us a bit about TD Berlin and the value of data.
Yeah, thank you, Alexa, for this really nice introduction. Today, we live in a continuously changing environment where everything is getting more digital, more faster. Still, some companies still can't keep up, and they're struggling to stay competitive within their market. We at TD, we try to support them to introduce data-driven strategies so they can be more productive, more successful, and we want to empower the people within the company to take the decisions based on relevant data. Therefore, we have developed Pulse. Pulse is a dashboard tool which supports decision makers on a daily basis to take decisions based on relevant data. Within Pulse, you can see those different, you know what you have spent for your campaign, you know what you can get out of it, and within different visualizations, you can, for example, see, okay, what is my return on investment, where I can get more out of my campaign, and what can I do more here. So sometimes we have discovered that looking at the computer screen is just not enough, and sometimes you need much more faster access to your data. So what's simpler than just asking? Voice systems have three big main advantages. First, you get a really fast and easy access to your data. You have it right at the point without even opening your PC. It's always available. And last but not least, it's a single source of truth. Yeah, we have discovered some use cases which we would like to present to you today with our Pulse dashboard. So we're just imagining that I'm a marketing manager and I'm just tracking my current campaigns with Pulse. And therefore, we have this little presentation for you. So Alexa, what's my flash briefing?
Here's your flash briefing. From BBC News, country leaders in Europe and around the world prepare for G20 summit in Hamburg early next month. From Dashboard News, your campaign started yesterday at 9 a.m. Since then, campaign site visits are up 5%. That's all from your flash briefing.
So you can see, when I wake up in the morning, I'm so excited on how my campaign is going. I can, next to hearing my news about the day, I can even get the latest KPIs from my dashboard. So I'm getting to work now, and I have this really important meeting within the German market, and I need access to all the KPIs which are relevant for me right now to take the right decision. Alexa, start dashboard.
Dashboard. You can ask me for the latest KPIs.
What are my latest KPIs?
Dwell time is 4 minutes and 10 seconds, around 230,000 visits, and around 12,000 sales. All values are for Germany between the 8th of June 2017 and the 22nd of June 2017. No value is higher than last year.
Explain buzz volume.
Buzz volume shows brand-related online messages. These can be posted on social media, news websites, blogs, and public forums. Each posting can have a positive negative, or neutral sentiment.
Send a report to my email.
A summary report has been sent to your email account.
So you could see that during this meeting, my voice assistant could tell me all the relevant KPIs I need to know right at this moment, and could even send me a report, so I have everything much more detailed. Now I come back to my table and I see that my voice assistant is flashing green. Something has seemed to happen. Alexa, start dashboard.
Dashboard. You can ask me for the latest KPIs.
What happened?
The click-through rate of your current Facebook campaign is 5% higher than predicted. You can reduce your spendings for this channel by 3% and still meet your targets with 95% probability.
Yeah, before that I have defined different benchmarks within Pulse, and now I know, okay, I can reduce my marketing budget to even save some money in this case. So my voice assistant could even give me some recommendations right now. Yeah, let's take a peek behind the curtain right now, and let's see how those use cases can be implemented.
So you might be wondering what the intention was with these use cases. So you might think it's all about voice. It actually wasn't. And I'm making a lot of friends right now when I say that the technology driving these use cases isn't really relevant. Technology should be an enabler, not a driver. So what was relevant in these use cases is the integration, that you can seamlessly collect all the data that you need while you're in your usual process. Either you're at the breakfast table, you're driving to work, or you're in a meeting, or you're sitting at your desk. You're doing your normal work, you have a high cognitive load, maybe you have your hands full, and voice is a natural way at the moment to achieve this integration, this seamless data retrieval. In 5 to 10 years, maybe we're even looking at a zero UI, that all the data automatically comes to you without you even having to utter a single word, not even walk at a computer. You're just sitting there, and the system somehow knows that you need this data right now to make a certain decision, and it provides you that data. That's still in the far future. So at the moment, we think, okay, voice assistants, voice technologies are the way to go. In implementing this prototype, we then, of course, had to make a decision, what technology can we base this on? So these are the main contenders at the moment. We have Amazon and Google, as well as Microsoft and Apple. Some of them provide hardware platforms. There's a physical device. Some of them provide the software platforms on which you can run those voice services. And those voice services, let's call them skills, or Google calls them action. They are like applications that you install normally on your mobile phone. Only in this case, you would activate them on your voice assistant. And that's very important. No code is run on that physical device. Unlike on your application, there's actual code running on your mobile. In this case, none of that does happen. So it's very secure and very convenient. How do we choose which technology then to use for our voice services? Well, of course, Apple Siri is the oldest one in the field. It has been in use for many, many years. It's a very powerful personal assistant. It can make phone calls, it can set up dates, it can send messages, but typically for Apple, it's a very closed environment. It's not easy for third parties to implement actual applications or services based on Siri. So we looked at Amazon and Google, and the Google AI platform is very powerful and has many integrations also for chatbots. But if you want to use an Alexa, there's only the Amazon way to go, which is okay because, as you might know, in the CES earlier this year, Amazon made a very big splash. There was a huge buzz about Alexa and the Alexa services, and it's estimated that around 10 million units have been sold in the US alone. Still, if you look at Cortana, there might be 100+ million users, according to Microsoft, based on the 500+ million Windows users. How does it work at all? So at first, there's always a user that has some intent and that he's saying something. I want to order a pizza, I want to order a taxi, I want to know my KPIs. So there needs to be some device that listens to the voice that I speak, triggers or sends this information to the platform. It could be Google's API AI, it could be Amazon Alexa powered by Lex. And then the platform does some speech-to-text translation, it runs some NLP, and it determines what I, the user, actually want to achieve. Now, the platform itself doesn't have, for example, the information about the company KPIs. So how does it get there to tell me what the KPIs is, what the click-through rate is, what the dwell time is? This is where the fulfillment layer comes into play. This is where the business logic resides, where all the data is collected, and where we create a structured response that is then sent back to the platform, converted with text-to-speech into something that the device can say back to the user. And then a conversation can occur. If we look at a typical invocation, like we heard it earlier in the use cases, it's always Alexa. For the Alexa showcase, it could be OK Google, it could be Hey Siri, it could be Hey Cortana. And then the device starts to listen, so ears up, and it records whatever I say after following the wake word. So I said ask dashboard. Dashboard is the invocation name for the skill, or for Google, the action. And then the main utterance says what my intent is. So I ask for the main KPI in Germany, for example. Now, how does a platform know that when I ask for main KPI, what I actually want to achieve and trigger the business logic with the right commands? This is where the main platform come into play. So this is an example screen of the Alexa interface where we define the utterances and map them to the intents. Google's API AI looks very similar. You have in the middle an area where you can enter sample utterances. So if you consider, for example, the OK intent to confirm a purchase, for example, there are several ways how you can say, OK, proceed with a purchase. You can say, OK, you can say, sure, you can say, let's go, you can say, sounds good to me. So these are all sample utterances that you would enter in the middle, just type them in, and then the machine learning kicks into place, and variations of the same utterances can be spoken by the user. So even if I say, based on the machine learning, Alexa could still understand that this is a confirmation noise that I'm making and would trigger the OK intent. On the left-hand side, you can see all the intents which are then mapped to this utterance. And for reference, Amazon, for example, recommends around 30 sample utterances per intent. And I can already pull forward one of the lessons learned. Please do not just solely let your developers define those utterances. It's very important that this is a group process, that you involve the actual users, maybe your clients, maybe the UX team, so anyone who would interact with the service to define those utterances. Additionally, you can also define slots or variables, parameters, in your utterance. So I could say how many visits in France. Visits would be the KPI placeholder, and France would be a market placeholder. So these placeholders are also defined in the utterances and then recognized by the platform and transmitted to our fulfillment service. When I talk about fulfillment service, in our case, this is our Pulse backend that not only powers the various chatbots that we connect through the APIs, with this backend, it also connects the voice services, and of course it delivers all the data that we need for the web-based dashboard. This fulfillment service, the backend, can run on any platform. It can be programmed in any language. All it needs to do is accept some structured JSON requests from the platform, build a structured response, and send that back to the platform for further processing. So full flexibility here. Again, you can run it anywhere and on any platform. As you have seen over the day in many of the other presentations, it could connect to SAP, it could connect to shop systems, so there's a huge variety possible here. In implementing this showcase, we of course made a few learnings which we want to share to you so you don't have to go through the same pain as we did. First of all, NLP isn't quite there. You need to support and guide your users. At the moment, you need to talk to the device in a structured way. You need to use certain phrasing. You need to detect what the user actually meant. It cannot be free speech like we would do it now in a dialogue. So this is something that the users are currently learning. They have to learn it because, like I said, NLP isn't quite there. So please don't punish them with error messages. I didn't understand what you said there. Please try again. And go through the entire iteration again and again. Rather, engage the user in a process, in a conversation, where you ask bit by bit what the user actually wants. So build a great voice-based user interface. Design your conversations to be heard, not read. It's very simple to say that based on the platform that I have and on the back end that I run, I will simply pipe my entire chatbot messages through a voice system. And you would quickly use your users, because this is not something that a human brain can process while listening to something. You're providing, for example, for numbers, too many, or precision that is too high. If you listen closely to the initial sample, the use case that we did, we said around, okay, maybe around 50,000 users. We didn't give the precise number. Around 750 sales. We didn't give the precise number. So round the numbers, it's easier to understand. Also use tools like landmarking, chunking to make make it easier for the user to understand what you're trying to tell them. And if you want to get into this topic, I can really recommend Amazon documentation. They have very, very good documentation how a conversational interface should work. And when we talk about KPI and the corporate context, there are several things that make things a bit difficult for us at the moment. There is no enterprise program. You cannot publish a skill/action to a limited scope of users. If you publish something, it's obvious for everyone. Everyone can see it. You can add some login features, so not everybody can use it. But if you publish a skill, everybody knows this client or this corporation has it out there. And they can try to use it. Additionally, all the data somehow, somewhere, has to flow through Amazon and Google. Remember, there is no cloud, it's just someone else's computer. And in this case, it's from Amazon or Google or Microsoft. This is a huge problem for some corporations where they say certain KPIs are not allowed to leave our IT. And this is happening when you use a voice interface. So you need to take this also in consideration. And last not least, the biggest concern is always privacy. So the Echo is sitting there. We turned off the microphone. Do you trust it that it's not recording everything and sending it to Amazon and the NSA? I do. Others may not. And if this is sitting in your office, how do you work with that? What is the concern of your employees? So you need to take this also into consideration. Where do we see voice going? It's currently hyped, so it's good to start. But we think in 1 or 2 years it will become really, really mainstream. At the moment, home automation, specifically for the Alexa devices, is the main driver. So everybody is buying Alexa. They are buying some smart light bulbs from Philips, Osram, or any of the competitors. So everybody goes at home and says, light on, light off. Maybe set the temperature to 20 degrees, maybe use it for music playing. So these are the main use cases that Alexa is currently employed for. This will change, we think, in the future. Additionally, the generation voice will emerge. We are not the generation who is used to talking to devices, because in the past, NLP understanding, it didn't really work. Now, the generation that is growing up, kids, we can see they interact with Amazon Echoes like a natural person or a grandmother who's on the phone. So they are growing up using voice interfaces, and they will be the people, the employees using voice interfaces in the future. We also heard this morning that 20% of all Google searches were initiated on voice in 2016. And for this year, Google estimated that 40% of all searches globally will be initiated on voice.
40% already seems to be a really, really high number. So of course we took a look, okay, what can we do to make this voice system more aligned with our Pulse system, and how can we integrate it more? First of all, we think everyone needs a voice assistant, of course, at work. It's just simple, it's easy, you can ask everything you want to know. You can, I don't know, ask for the time, you can ask how you get to your next business meeting, you can read your emails, whatever you want to do. And then as well, we want to make it more personalized. So when you, of course, have a campaign right now, you don't want to have the data from your German brand or anything, you just want the data for this campaign right now, so to make it more within a context. One other thing is, within our Pulse, we have this section where people within the company can learn, they can share their best cases based on relevant data and based on the data they are, or like basically proven by the data in there. So we want this voice system to connect the people within the company, to share knowledge, to read out the best cases for you, and also maybe connect with other markets, especially when you're working in a bigger corporation. Yeah, wrapping up all those use cases we have presented to you today, of course we would like to know from you, what are your experiences with voice, especially in the business context, and what kind of use cases you can imagine for voice systems.
And if you have any questions, we're still around here. Thank you.